Yeah, I mean, I think college football, even almost more so than Big Ten, this is college football at its finest, I think. I mean, it's classic, two classic football teams, um, big stage on Saturday night. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. I couldn't be more excited.
I want to ask you about a particular play. They had a Northwestern had a screen set up that Nick sort of sniffed out. And how good of a play was that from him, and what does it take to make a play like that where if he doesn't make the tackle, it could be a big play?
Yeah, it was a great play. He's an instinctual player. He understands the game. Some guys have a real knack for it. You can see that when he played high school over here at Burke, and he does. Some guys, it takes reps, it takes feel to get that thing sorted out. He's pretty natural with it. He missed a screen later on in the game. I'll let him know that too. But no, that was a great play. It was Northwestern had that one set up pretty well, and he made a guy miss and made a tackle in the open field.
So, what causes you to miss a play like that? Is it eyes or?
No, the actual one that he had, it was a little bit of a tough situation. We were showing a disguise, so he got caught up in the line a little bit. So he was in a little bit of a tough spot for the play call we had. But at the same time, that's why we spend so much time watching ourselves because when that happens in a game, I guarantee you with a guy like him, it won't happen again. That's how I always learned was when you made a mistake or you didn't do something the way that necessarily was the correct way, especially when you hadn't seen it before. So that'll be one I'm positive he'll put in the bank, and that won't be a repeat offender.
It seems like this year I've heard more guys talk about understanding, like JoJo yesterday called it assets and liabilities, understanding what your job is, and then also how you can get beat more this year than maybe in past years. Is that sort of the gradual level of understanding this defensive system?
Yeah, and that comes in all phases, not only players but coaches too. The longer you're in the system, the longer you're around it, the longer you're with each other, the same people, you learn your problems. And I was told this once, and I believe it, that good defense is about understanding your own issues. Everybody runs, everything looks good on paper. It's what are the problems? And, our guys that have played a lot of football now, they're starting to understand the issues of the defense too, which is a big step.
For this game in particular, I mean, what's the challenge for your guys? I mean, Michigan's obviously going to try to get downhill on you, but what's the challenge in the middle?
They got a high volume of formations, personnel groupings. They do a really good job with, I call them window dressings. They got a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, a lot of formations that you got to be able to adjust your own defense to. Then they do a good job of really running their staple concepts, but they have, a bunch of different looks that they try to get you in to do that.
The rotation that you guys have settled into, are you feeling pretty good about that in terms of the starters and kind of just that rotation you guys have set so far?
Yeah, because I do think it's important that guys rotate in. I mean, a Big Ten season's a grind. If you're relying on two guys to play the whole time, I think those guys can really get worn down. So even when guys aren't necessarily tired in the game, I'm making sure to get, Chris rotated in there and, Snods if need be, because I think the accumulation of a year it's important to have those reps. You're saving your body a little bit by taking off 15 to 20 reps a game.
Knock on all the wood, but as healthy as you guys have been, to what do you attribute that? Is that luck? Is that how you guys have been preparing, rotating guys?
There's always a little bit of luck involved, but I think the guys have really done a good job of preparing. And not only do you prepare mentally, but you got to prepare your body physically. You got to get rest. You got to get treatment. You got to get in the ice tubs after practice. You got to stretch before practice, and you got to do it every single day. You can't do it sometimes, or you can't do it when you don't feel good. You got to do it when you feel good too. So I'd attribute more than anything to the habits of forming.
Has that changed at all this year in terms of how guys are maintaining themselves?
Well, I think it's experience. I got a lot of experience having to do it myself, so I can provide some input. But at the same time, it's about those guys owning their own routine. I can't follow them around all day. They got to be able to want to do it, and they got to do it every single day. So they've done a really good job of holding themselves accountable to kind of following a routine.
You talked about how you knew from the first time you saw Luke Reimer do a drill that he'd play here. What's been his progression in your eyes this year? What's he maybe doing now that he wasn't doing last year?
I think that the athlete's always been there. The natural ability to tackle has always been there. I think kind of like we were talking about just overall as a team, I think he just understands the ins and outs of the position a lot more. He understands, what are the issues, what are the hard plays, what are my chances to go make some splash plays. So I think that's the biggest thing. He's just really grasped, the ins and outs of the defense, the detail that, we wanted to play with now.
Seems like he's a guy who's gotten his hands on some balls, hasn't quite maybe.
Hadn't caught him, has he? Yeah, he hasn't caught any balls. I don't know. I said, hey, PBUs are great. I'd rather have interceptions. I hope he was saving them up for the rest of the year. But those are important. Miss ops, tips, overthrows. You got to make sure you come down with those. So I know he wasn't thrilled with himself. And, you got to make sure you convert those because you don't get a lot of those ops. When a ball gets tipped up, it's got to be one that you got to take advantage of.
I know they're not your guys in particular, but at the linebacker level, with the way that JoJo and Garrett have accumulated tackles for loss so far this year, making plays, just that sort of second level, do you feel like you're in a pretty good spot right now with the production that you're getting from the linebacker group as a whole?
Yeah, it's been good production. I think Garrett's been really solid on the edge, not only rushing the quarterback, but just playing with technique, setting the edge, being physical in the run game too. He's turned himself into a really complete player. And then Joe, I think, is progressed from the year before. It's the same thing. I mean, he's kind of found a home at that walked out nickel position, and same deal. He knows the different issues that pop up, and he's always been pretty natural when it comes to making plays in space. So he's doing a good job.
I know this is not probably what's on his mind or certainly your mind at this point, but you played linebacker in the NFL for a long time. Is he sort of the way the game is played now at the professional level? That's sort of what a lot of second level players look like, isn't it? A guy that has to do a lot of.
Well, yeah, definitely. As far as the athleticism, I mean that really is. I mean, it's way more of a space game than it is a box game, and I think everybody would probably prefer to teach from the outside in. It's harder to teach athleticism. It's harder to teach being comfortable in space than it is necessarily keying in a box. I think you can teach that and teach guys how to get off blocks. It's hard to get guys comfortable playing in space. So I think that probably is a little bit of a trend in football in general.
What have you seen just maybe from the offense the last 2 or 3 weeks? Have they figured something out from your perspective, or what's just been the challenge going up against those guys in front of you?
I mean, they've always done a lot of different concepts. I think our quarterback's playing really, really well right now. And it's nice to see some of the other skill guys really start getting involved. I mean, Xavier had a good game. Omar had a good game. Yant was out there running around. So it was cool to see the skill guys get involved. The tight ends are always really steady. So, you hope that it's starting to peak at the right time.
I know you obviously can't talk about specific guys in terms of recruiting, but how are you sort of getting to the point now in terms of high school seasons that are going on where you've been able to evaluate whether it's seniors or juniors or whatever, especially around here?
Yeah, you've been able to watch it as much as you can. It's recruiting during the season, it's a grind, and you're a little bit limited, especially compared to the off season. But you try to keep up as much as you can. You kind of got to watch a little bit more highlight videos than off season. You can spend more time going through true game film, seeing them on a snap to snap basis. Just because of the time crunch, you got to be a little bit more highlight oriented. But you try to watch as much as you can, and just so you don't get overwhelmed with all of a sudden you got to watch 6 hours of film in a day at the end of the week. So you try to keep up as much as you can.